here, my first time was on August 3rd, 1876. It wasn't until the following year that I was actually appointed as sheriff by Governor Pennington from over in Yankton, which was in the Dakota Territory at the time. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get going. Well, the first people that came into, or at least the first people documented having come here, was in that late fall, early winter of 1875. And unbeknownst to each other, there was two different groups of people that dropped down into this gulch and found gold in this stream out here within about a week of each other. Now, there was a problem with that. That being that back in 1868, the United States government signed a treaty with the Great Sioux Nation, creating the Great Sioux Reservation, which designated land all the way from the Bighorn Mountains over to the Missouri River, which is most of western South Dakota today. Little bits of, a little snippet of Iowa and Minnesota, parts of Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana, and North Dakota. Very large area, which of course did include all of the Black Hills as part of the Great Sioux Reservation. So those first people that were here illegally. According to that treaty, the United States government was responsible for showing people the door, taking them off the reservation, and ensuring that they don't come back. So when the government heard that there were people coming up here into the gulch here, they did send the army up. Now, so the government soon realized it was a losing proposition trying to get everybody out of this area, because when gold enters into it, pretty much all laws and civility get thrown out the door. So people just started coming up here. The government had to fall back on Plan B. Well, how do we get this land that we signed over and designated as the Great Sioux Reservation, how do we get this land back as a territory of the United States? Now that in and of itself is a whole nother story, and I'm not going to try to cover that, the legality or illegality of that. I will just say that on February the 22nd, 1877, Congress said they had enough signatures from the adult males of the Lakota people to amend that treaty and pulled most all of that land back in, and it became part of the Dakota Territory, which is about 2 streets over from here, and that burned most of the downtown area. That was the Great Fire. We had a number of different fires after that, about 3 of them prior to 1900. Mining towns are famous for fires because you have wood buildings, open flames for wood burning stoves, oil lamps, that kind of thing. Well, it's a recipe for disaster. So, the reason that we're standing in front of this building in particular is called the Midnight Star. However, the building itself we call the Phoenix Building, and that is because it was one of the first buildings that rose out of the flames of the Great Fire of 1879. Now, if we were far enough back and you were able to look way up there, there's a round window way up at the top, and right above that there is a wood plaque that has the date 1879, signifying that this was one of the first buildings built right after the Great Fire.
Hey folks, that's more like it. We are Deadwood Live. We bring history to life 6 days a week, all summer long. And today is our last day for this season. You folks are lucky. You get to see us one last time. Now, we finish off each of those days with the trial of Jack McCall right down the street here at the Wild Mill Theater. Tonight is our last night of doing that trial as well. Now, by applause, how many of you folks know who Jack McCall actually was? Well, for those of you that don't know, Jack McCall is a fellow that shot our friend Wild Bill Hickok inside the saloon number 10. Now, by doing that, he kind of put Deadwood on the map for something other than those millions of dollars worth of gold that they found here. And he went on trial for that murder the very next day, right here in town. And that's what we reenact. here. That's right, right up here.
Wild Bill's been shot. He's dead. I even know the bartender who stole his money. Oh, by the way, I'm the sheriff now too. So, let's hang him.